they that guard his testimonies, and that seek him with the whole heart. They also do no iniquity, they walk in his ways. You have commanded us to guard your precepts diligently. Oh, that my ways were directed to guard your statutes. Then shall I not be ashamed when I have respect unto all your commandments. I will praise you with uprightness of heart when I shall have learned your righteous judgments. I will guard your statutes. O forsake me not utterly. Wherewith shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto according to your word. With my whole heart have I sought you. O let me not wander from your commandments. Your word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against you. Blessed are you, O Yahuwah. Teach me your statutes. With my lips have I declared all the judgments of your mouth. I have rejoiced in the way of your testimonies, as much as in all right riches. I will meditate in your precepts, and have respect unto your ways. I will delight myself in your statutes. I will not forget your word. Deal bountifully with your servant, that I may live and guard your word. Open my eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of your Torah. I am a stranger in the earth. Hide not your commandments from me. My soul breaks for the longing that it has unto your judgments at all times. You have rebuked the proud that are cursed, which do err from your commandments. Remove from me reproach and contempt, for I have kept your testimonies. Princes also did sit and speak against me, but your servant did meditate in your statutes. Your testimonies also are my delight and my counselors. My soul cleaves unto the dust. Quicken me according to your word. I have declared my ways, and you heard me. Teach me your statutes. Make me to understand the way of your precepts. So shall I talk to your wondrous works. My soul melts for heaviness. Strengthen me according to your word. Remove from me the way of lying, and grant me your Torah graciously. I have chosen the way of truth. Your judgments have I laid before me. I have stuck unto your testimonies, O Yahuwah. Put me not to shame. I will run the way of your commandments, when you shall enlarge my heart. Teach me, O Yahuwah, the way of your statutes, and I shall guard it unto the end. Give me understanding, and I shall guard your Torah. Yea, I shall keep it with my whole heart. Make me to go in the path of your commandments, for therein do I delight. Incline my heart unto your testimonies, and not to covetousness. Turn away my eyes from beholding vanity, and quicken me in your way. Establish your word unto your servant, who is devoted to your fear. Turn away my reproach, which I fear, for your judgments are good. Behold, I have longed after your precepts. Quicken me in your righteousness. Let your mercies come also unto me, O Yahuwah, even your Yeshua, according to your word. So shall I have wherewith to answer him that reproaches me, for I trust in your word. And take not the word of your truth utterly out of my mouth, for I have hope in your judgments. So shall I guard your Torah continually forever and ever. And I will walk at liberty, for I seek your precepts. I will speak your testimonies also before kings, and will not be ashamed. And I will delight myself in your commandments, which I have loved. My hands also will I lift up unto your commandments, which I have loved, and I will meditate in your statutes. Remember the word unto your servant, upon which you have caused me to hope. This is my comfort in my affliction, for your word has quickened me. The proud have had me greatly in derision, yet have I not declined from your Torah. I remember your judgments of old, O Yahuwah, and have comforted myself. Horror has taken a hold upon me because of the wicked, and forsake your Torah. Your statutes have been my songs in the house of my pilgrimage. I have remembered your name, O Yahuwah, in the night, and have guarded your Torah. This I had because I kept your precepts. You are my portion, O Yahuwah. I have said that I would guard your words. I entreated your favor with my whole heart. Be merciful unto me according to your word. I thought on my ways and turned my feet unto your testimonies. I made haste and delayed not to guard your commandments. The bands of the wicked have robbed me, but I have not forgotten your Torah. At midnight I will rise to give thanks unto you because of your righteous judgments. I am a companion of all them that fear you, and of them that guard your precepts. The earth, O Yahuwah, is full of your mercy. Teach me your statutes. You have dealt well with your servant, O Yahuwah, according to your word. Teach me good judgment and knowledge, for I have believed your commandments. Before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now have I guarded your word. You are good and do good. Teach me your statutes. The proud have forged a lie against me, but I will guard your precepts with my whole heart. Their heart is as fat as grease, but I delight in your Torah. It is good for me that I have been afflicted, that I might learn your statutes. The Torah of your mouth is better unto me than thousands of gold and silver. Your hands have made me and fashioned me. Give me understanding that I may learn your commandments. They that fear you will be glad when they see me, because I have hoped in your word. I know, O Yahuwah, that your judgments are right, and that you in faithfulness have afflicted me. Let I pray you, your merciful kindness be for my comfort, according to your word unto your servant. Let your tender mercies come unto me, that I may live, for your Torah is my delight. Let the proud be ashamed, for they dealt perversely with me without a cause, but I will meditate in your precepts. Let those that fear you turn unto me, and those that have known your testimonies. Let my heart be sound in your statutes, that I be not ashamed. My soul faint for your Yeshua, but I hope in your word. My eyes fall for your word, saying, when will you comfort me? For I am become like a bottle in the smoke, yet do I not forget your statutes. How many are the days of your servant? When will you execute judgment on them that persecute me? The proud have dug pits for me, which are not after your Torah. All your commandments are faithful. They persecute me wrongly. Help me. They had almost consumed me upon earth, but I forsook not your precepts. Quicken me after your loving kindness, so shall I guard the testimony of your mouth. Forever, O Yahuwah, your word is settled in heaven. Your faithfulness is unto all generations. You have established the earth, and it abides. They continue this day according to your ordinances, for all are your servants. Unless your Torah had been my delights, I should then have perished in my affliction. I will never forget your precepts, for with them you have quickened me. I am yours, save me, for I have sought your precepts. The wicked have waited for me to destroy me, but I will consider your testimonies. I have seen the end of all perfection, but your commandment is exceeding broad. Oh, how love I your Torah. It is my meditation all the day. You, through your commandments, have made me wiser than many enemies, for they are ever with me. I have more understanding than all my teachers, for your testimonies are my meditation. I understand more than the ancients, because I guard your precepts. I have refrained my foot from every evil way, that I may guard your word. I have not departed from your judgments, for you have taught me. How sweet are your words unto my taste, yes, sweeter than honey to my mouth. Through your precepts I get understanding, therefore I hate every false way. Your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. I have sworn I will perform it. that I will guard your righteous judgments. I am afflicted very much. Quicken me, O Yahuwah, according to your word. Accept, I beseech you, the free will offerings of my mouth, O Yahuwah, and teach me your judgments. My soul is continually in my hand, yet do I not forget your Torah. The wicked have laid a snare for me, yet I err not from your precepts. Your testimonies have I taken as a heritage forever, for they are the rejoicing of my heart. I have inclined my heart to perform your statutes always, even unto the end. I hate vain thoughts, but your Torah do I love. You are my hiding place and my shield. I hope in your word. Depart from me, ye evildoers, for I will guard the commandments of my Elohim. Uphold me according to your word, that I may live, and let me not be ashamed of my hope. Hold me up, and I shall be safe, and I will have respect unto your statutes continually. You have trodden down all them that err from your statutes, for their deceit is falsehood. You put away all the wicked of the earth like dross. Therefore, I love your testimonies. My flesh trembles for fear of you, and I am afraid of your judgments. I have done judgment and justice. Leave me not to my oppressors. Be surety for your servant for good. Let not the proud oppress me. My eyes fell for your Yeshua and for the word of your righteousness. Deal with your servant according unto your mercy, and teach me your statutes. I am your servant. Give me understanding that I may know your testimonies. It is time for you, Yahuwah, to work, for they have made void your Torah. Therefore I love your commandments above gold, yea, above fine gold. Therefore I esteem all your precepts concerning all things to be right, and I hate every false way. Your testimonies are wonderful, therefore does my soul guard them. The entrance of your words gives light, it gives understanding unto the simple. I open my mouth and panic, for I long for your commandments. Look upon me and be merciful unto me, as you used to do unto those that love your name. Order my steps in your word, and let not any iniquity have dominion over me. Deliver me from the oppression of man, so I will guard your precepts. Make your face to shine upon your servant, and teach me your statutes. Rivers of water run down my eyes, because they guard not your Torah. Righteous are you, O Yahuwah, and upright are your judgments. Your testimonies that you have commanded are righteous and very faithful. My zeal has consumed me, because my enemies have forgotten your words. Your word is very pure, therefore your servant loves it. I am small and despised, yet do not I forget your precepts. Your righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and your Torah is the truth. Hallelujah. Trouble and anguish have taken hold on me, that your commandments are my delights. The righteousness of your testimonies is everlasting. Give me understanding, and I shall live. I cry with my whole heart. Hear me, O Yahuwah. I will guard your statutes. I cried unto you. Save me, and I shall guard your testimonies. I prevented the drawing of the warning and cried. I hoped in your word. My eyes prevent the night watches, that I might meditate in your word. Hear my voice according unto your loving kindness, O Yahuwah. Quicken me according to your judgment. They draw nigh that follow after mischief. They are far from your Torah. You are near, O Yahuwah, and all your commandments are truth. Concerning your testimonies I have known of old, that you have founded them forever. Consider my affliction, deliver me, for I do not forget your Torah. Plead my cause and deliver me. Quicken me according to your word. Yeshua is far from the wicked, for they seek not your statutes. Great are your tender mercies, O Yahuwah. Quicken me according to your judgments. Many are my persecutors and my enemies, yet do I not decline from your testimonies. I beheld the transgressions and was grieved, because they did not guard your word. Consider how I have precepts. Quicken me, O Yahuwah, according to your loving kindness. Your word is true from the beginning. and every one of your righteous judgments endures forever. Princes have persecuted me without a cause, but my heart stands in awe of your word. I rejoice at your word as one that finds great spoil. I hate and abhor lying, but your Torah do I love. 7 times a day do I praise you because of your righteous judgments. Great peace have they which love your Torah, and nothing shall offend them. Yahuwah, I have hoped for your Yeshua, and done your commandments. My soul has guarded your testimonies, and I love them exceedingly. I have guarded your precepts and your testimonies, for all my ways are before you. Let my cry come near before you, O Yahuwah. Give me understanding according to your word. Let my supplication come before you. Deliver me according to your word. My lips shall utter praise when you have taught me your statutes. My tongue shall speak your word, for all your commandments are righteousness. Hallelujah. Let your hand help me, for I have chosen your precepts. I have longed for your Yeshua, O Yahuwah, and your Torah is my delight. Let my soul live, and it shall praise you, and let your judgments help me. I have gone astray like a lost sheep. Seek your servant, for I do not forget your commandments. Hallelujah.
Father Yah, we come before you today as we come to give you worship and praise, Father, on the day that you have ordained, on your Sabbath. We want to give you love and respect and honor, Father. And we ask that you open up our hearts and our minds that we may understand and take in the things that we learned today, that we may walk them out as well as learn them, Father. And all these things that I ask in your Yeshua Messiah, our Savior, our Messiah, name. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Man, all praises. Man, all praises. Man, he's so everlasting. Man, his love is so everlasting. We hear y'all. We got to see another Shabbat. That's a prayer answer. Prayed last week. I see y'all faces. And hey, we made it through another 7. So all praises. All praises to the King. Man. 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 All praises. All praises. Intro to the portion. We're gonna keep it moving, y'all. Still in Torah portion part, Lake Lekha. We almost through this one. We had chapter 16. We got one more chapter in this particular portion. All praises. How y'all feeling?
Good.
Man. All right, no new faces in here. We know what's going on here. I will say if anybody jumps in on the Zoom, online, just put your hand up, and that way we'll know that you got something to say. But otherwise, we're going to keep moving, all right? So today's memory verse, 1 Corinthians 10:23. All things are lawful, but not all things are helpful. Not all things are expedient. All things are lawful, but not all things build up. Okay, so keep that in mind. All things are lawful, but not all things are expedient for that moment. Romans 8:28. He says, and we know that all matters work together for the good to those who love Elohim, to those who are called according to his purpose. And when you look at that word for expedient, if you look it up in the Greek, it's going to tell you about all things are, it says, but not all things are helpful, not all things are expedient, not all things come together. But here in Romans 8:28, he's saying, all matters work together for the good to those who love Elohim, to those who are called according to his purpose. So the key there is going to be his purpose, right? What about your purpose? You throw your purpose on there. Is it always going to work to the good? Not unless your purpose is his purpose, right? So all praises. Romans 15:4, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. This is one of those chapters where it gives me hope, because we're going to see where a wrong turn got made, right? They made a wrong turn in the Father's plan. But we get a chance to see his patience. We get a chance to see him allowing them the space to figure it out, right? Now, just because he's gracious, he's compassionate, does that mean that they didn't have to deal with the consequences? Still had to deal with the consequences, right? There's always a process of sowing and reaping. But even within that, his mercy is there. His compassion is there. And he's giving them the space to figure it out, right? So 1 Corinthians 10:11 says, and all these came upon them as examples, and they were written as a warning to us, on whom the ends of the ages have come, so that he who thinks he stands, let him take heed lest he fall. No trial is overtaking you, except such as common to man, and Elohim is trustworthy, who shall not allow you to be tried beyond which you are able. But with the trial shall also make the way of escape, enabling you to bear it. So he told me, all praises. So a quick overview. When encountering ancient texts, it's always important to understand the text in its original context as best as possible. All right, so now we've seen this, and I said that we're going to visit this. We're going to continue to visit this, right? And it's times like this where I pull this out. There's an old saying by a guy named L.P. Hartley. He says, the past is a foreign country. They do things differently there, right? So it's concepts taking place within this particular chapter that might seem foreign to us today, right? But remember, before you make any judgment claims on it, keep in mind, the past is a foreign country. They do things differently there, right? And we're gonna peel the layers back to that as we go forward. All right, so got to understand it in its original context. In this particular part of the parsha, we will encounter concepts that are not so common in the modern Western world. I won't say that it's uncommon. It happens. It's just the way that it happened is probably not as common. So, like I said, we'll dig into it as we go forward. We'll try to provide historical context as best as we can in the amount of time that we have allotted for this lesson. It is by no means going to be exhaustive, but our goal will be to understand the story as best as we can through the lenses of the people whose lives we see recorded before us. Some of the ancient cultural practices may be difficult for us to understand from our modern perspectives. However, when we view them from an ancient Near Eastern cultural paradigm, we will see the story in a completely different light. All right, so y'all ready? All right, all praises. So what's going on in chapter 16? Did anything stand out to y'all before I get started? Anybody get a chance to read it? I see Ak back there stewing.
I'm just gonna touch on it just a little bit. I ain't gonna say too much. I'll wait. But I think is it Galatians 4? What gives you the analogy of Mount Sinai and whatnot. A lot of people try to use that and say, see, the law is done away with. But as you start to go through it, then I touch a little bit more, so that by the time we do get to Galatians and Paul is using that, we're going to understand that a whole lot better, as we'll see that they were, the Most High promised the Son and then they did things on their own will. So yeah, we'll match that up a little
All,
later.
all praises. Hold that thought. Definitely bring that out when we get there, because I'm gonna ask some questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so definitely bring that up. Bring that out. Okay. All praises. Anybody else have anything? Okay, let's get Elder a mic, because that's major. Needs to be heard.
I think it was a true lesson in patience. You know, they state that patience is a virtue, so at some point in time, we want things immediately, and you know, and we have to wait on the right time that y'all feel that it's right, and not when I think it's right. So here, I think I learned more about patience and trusting in what Yah says, you know, besides whoever else might be in my ear.
All praises. Very important. Anybody else? All right, we're going to keep moving. So, the unresolved problem of the promise, right? So Sarai remains barren. Time has passed with no visible fulfillment, and the promise of offspring seems stalled. Feels like it's stalled. Like, what's going on? When we get to the chapter, we'll see. It's been a little minute. With that being said, they come up with their own solution, right? A human solution to a divine promise. Sarai proposes using Hagar to produce an heir. The plan follows accepted cultural and legal customs. Abram agrees without resistance. But then there are some immediate consequences and relational breakdowns that take place as a result, right? So Hagar conceives and the power dynamic shift. Content, blame, and conflict emerge. Abram withdraws leadership, and Hagar is mistreated and flees. And then when Hagar flees, Elohim meets Hagar in the wilderness. It's very interesting what he's going to tell her. We'll get there. But the angel of Yahuwah seeks Hagar. Elohim addresses her personally and compassionately. Hagar is seen and known by Elohim, and Elohim promises Hagar numerous descendants. So he told me, So let's do a quick recap where we are up to this point. Genesis 12, 1 through 3. It says, and Yahuwah said to Abram, go for yourself, Lech Lecha, out of your land from your relatives and from your father's house to a land which I show you. And I shall make you a great nation and bless you and make your name great and shall be a blessing. And I shall bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. And in all the clans of the earth, and in you all the clans of the earth shall be blessed. So it's the first time that we saw that the Father came to him. And right there, he knows the end from the beginning, but it's very vague. Everything in between, how am I going to get here, is very vague, right? And we get to the next chapter. Now, in between time, they go to Egypt, and they have that whole thing, right? And here we are, chapter 13. And then Lot, whom he's assuming this must happen and must occur through, now Lot separates from him. So the son that he thought was going to receive the blessing is now gone, right? And rightfully so, if you know the Father's plan, but you got to remember at this point, he doesn't. So Genesis 13 and 14, it says, after Lot had separated from him, Yahuwah said to Abram. So now he's going to get more details, right? Now, each step of the way, be mindful that the Father is purposely withholding information. Now, this is the way that the Father moves, right? He doesn't reveal everything all at one time. And for most of us, we probably wouldn't be able to handle it if he revealed it all at one time, right? So a lot of times with Yahuwah is need-to-know basis, right? I'm going to give you just enough to be obedient, operate in faith, and if you believe, we'll figure it out as we get there. Well, you'll figure it out as we get there. He already knows, right? So it says, after Lot had separated from him, Yahuwah said to Abram, now lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are, northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land which you see, I shall give to you and your seed forever. So now that's a detail that he didn't quite have before, right? Specifically, I'm going to give it to your seed forever. And I shall make your seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man could count the dust of the earth, then your seed also could be counted. Now, we got a problem because Abram and Sarai, they have no children up to this point. And times are ticking, they're getting older and older and older and older. So now he has another detail, though, and I got to figure out, well, what am I going to do with this new detail, right? So I know that it's going to happen. You purposely have removed Lot from me, so I know Lot is out of the question. Now you're saying it's going to be my seed. Okay. Has anybody ever been in a situation where you start to try to understand and get a grasp for what the Father is saying, and then it's like, well, you start reasoning within yourself, and you say, well, maybe he means a spiritual seed. Right? You're trying to figure it out. You holding on and you operating in faith. If you look at all of these places that we're going, the next verse is Abram's obedience. So he believes, and it's counted to him as righteousness. But that doesn't mean that he understands the Father's plan in fullness. So then we get to chapter 15. That's where we were last week, right? After these events, the word of Yahuwah came to Abram in a vision, saying, do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield. Your reward is exceedingly great. And Abram said, Master Yahuwah, what would you give me, seeing I go childless, and the heir of my house is Eliezer of Damascus? So you keep talking about this seed, and you keep saying that you're going to do this. Well, how do I know you're going to do it? Can I have some proof? I mean, I've been waiting, and you know I believe, but I just need a little bit more. Show me how this is going to happen. And Abram said, see, you have given me no seed. You said that through my seed it's going to be blessed, and blessings and curses and all of these, but I still don't have a seed, and I've been waiting quite a while at this point. And see, one born in my house is my heir. So he's trying to figure it out. So at first it's Lot. It's like, okay, well, so if it's not Lot, then, I mean, is it him? And see, the word of Yahuwah came to him saying, this one is not your heir, but he who comes from your own body is your heir. So now he's a little bit more specific, right? So sometimes it's like, knock, right? The door be open. Seek, you'll find. Ask, you'll receive, right? So he's asking and asking and asking. He's receiving more details. He's getting a little bit more as he goes, but he still doesn't have all the answers because there's one problem that still has to be dealt with. I have tried with Sarai, and it has not happened. And at this point, that door is closed. Because she's getting older now, and she's past those years. So how is this going to happen? Right? He says, and see, the word of Yahuwah came to him, saying, this one is not your heir, but he who comes from your own body is your heir. And he brought him outside and said, look now toward the heavens, count the stars if you are able to count them. And he said to him, so are your seed. And that's it. That's all, folks. He could have told him, I'm about to do a miracle. So he's going to have a child. Your child. Purposely left that detail out of the equation. Right? So, I don't know, I'm getting ahead of myself, but maybe there's a reason why he's purposely withholding information as he goes. He's testing his faith, building him up, getting him to learn how to trust in him. Because you got to think about how heavy this is. This is the creator of all of the universe, making a covenant with man. And this covenant that he's making with man is going to be for the salvation and deliverance of all. This is incredible. As we go forward in future parshas, we're going to see he's going to test Abram's character so far and so much to see just how much are you willing to move and operate as I'm willing to move and operate. How much like me are you? To the point it's going to get to when he finally does receive the son, are you willing to give your son to me? Sacrifice him? One thing we know is that he was. So, Elder Woods.
I was just thinking about everything that Abram had gone through prior to getting to this position, right? You was thrown in a fiery furnace for 3 days, 3 nights. You fought with 4.5 different kings. You only had 318 men going up against, 5 or 4 different kingdoms, and you came out winning. So, to me, it shows that even Abraham had to struggle with his flesh and as well as his faith. That we all will end up having to go through at some point in time. Even with everything that Yah had done for him up to that point, and he had experienced, he still had that little bit of doubt that we all have because of our flesh. And this is something that he had to overcome as well as we have to overcome, because Yah showed him a lot all the way up to that point. And, we look at things in a physical manner. Well, I'm getting old. I know at a certain point in time, this ain't gonna happen. This can't happen, because we're going from a mental aspect of it instead of having faith in things that you cannot see or that you cannot understand at this particular time.
All praises. All praises. All praises. So, when we look at these occurrences of Elohim speaking to Abram, there's one detail missing. How will this covenant take place? How will Abram have a blessed seed knowing that his wife Sarai cannot have children? In each visit from Elohim, these details are intentionally withheld from Abram. So he's got to be asking the question, what should I do? How will this covenant take place? How will Abram have a blessed seed when Sarai cannot have children? And how can he navigate when he doesn't know where to go? How should he look at his current situation? This is very, very important because we often find ourselves in a similar situation where it's like, okay, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to do the best that I can. Now, we're not talking about willful disobedience, right? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you're doing the best that you can, and you're trying to silence, the fleshly man, operate in faith. There's that struggle that's not going anywhere. And yet you're still choosing obedience, and it seems like, man, no matter how long I wait, you're still not doing it. So, and you're not giving me any more information on when you're going to do it. So I'm trying to figure this out, What do you do in that situation? Okay, patience. All praises. And we're going to see just to what extent the patience is going to get tested, right? So when we look at Genesis 15:4, what is the logical explanation to what Abram is told? Now, Elder just said something very important. He said, sometimes we'll look at things mentally, right, through our understanding. And because we're looking at it through our understanding, our options are very limited as far as what is possible. But faith is belief in things not seen, right? All praises. So he knows that Sarai cannot have children. In real time, what would one be expected to think? Surrogacy, right? This is the logical explanation then. Okay, so it's not Lot. All right, well, he eliminated Lot from this equation. So it must be my servant then. No, it's not your servant. Okay, well, it can't be with Sarai, so it has to be with someone else. This is the logical explanation. Okay, so he knows that Sarai cannot have children. In real time, what will one be expected to think? Notice in each of the times that Abram has been told this, Sarai has never been an option that he has considered because he is aware of his life and their circumstance. First, he thought perhaps this will be done through Lot, his nephew. Then he thought it must be through his servant Eliezer. He is doing all of the right things up to this point. He's waiting. He's asking the Father how this is going to happen. He's obedient and he walks in belief and what the Father answers him. But still, all of this does not bring him any closer to understanding how this will come to fruition. Now he is told directly that it will be his child from his loins. What is his next logical option if Sarai continues to go childless? This is where we need to take a moment to process the situation in real time. It's easy to say that he should have continued to wait and believe, but I'm only left wondering, what would I think if I were in his shoes? Right? What would I think? I like to think that I'm a rational and logical thinking individual. And that's the logical option. It makes sense. But you're putting the Most High in a box. If he didn't tell you to do that up to this point, and you've been waiting this long and he didn't come and check you and say, hey, what are you doing? I told you he was going to have a son, and you didn't try to figure out how to go and do that yet. He never said that to him. So that means be still. Wait. Continue to wait. Know that I'm Yahuwah. Man, my Yah. But what would I think if I was in his shoes? Man. Something tells me, these are examples that are written for our learning for a reason. Something tells me that me in that situation, I might have at least considered it. All of the options that he's considered. My Ishai, sometimes we have those discussions and those, not to put too much of our business on blast, but when we first got together, this is before we got married, we are teenagers at this time. And we had this big argument, dispute, tense conversation about faith and how it works. And it was over something petty. I'm going to spare y'all the details. It was over something petty. And I'm like, listen, where I come from, that sounds like magic. Where I come from, that sounds like I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it don't just fall out of the sky like that. Like, if you don't work, you don't eat. If something's broken, you need to fix it. Don't expect it to fix itself. But faith doesn't work that way. So me and her, we're going back and forth. What I've come to realize is that it's a combination of the two. They both go hand in hand. Faith without works is dead. And works without faith is dead. Right? So it's a combination of the two. I show my faith by my works, right? Cannot have one without the other. Not even. At that time, we wasn't even, we was 18 at that time. All praises. In essence, you can definitely look at it that way. And I'll tell you this much. Anybody that has never worked on their faith, you just tell me how much of it they have. All praises. Excellent point. Okay, so understand the perspective, right? That's the reason why I'm sharing that story. It's all about your perspective. So there are three primary perspectives. Are there any artists in here? I ain't gonna put you on blast. Three different perspectives, right? There are three primary perspectives that we can choose to look from: a bird's eye, street view, and a worm's eye. So we will see that this is true for both life and gaining scriptural insight. Yahuwah sees everything from on high at the bird's eye level where all is visible, right? So basically, the Most High he's got the bird's eye view. He can see the whole arena, right? He sits high and looks low, as they say, right? You can see it all. This is the bird's eye. It's a higher vantage point to look down from above, right? The normal eye level, that's where we are, looking straight ahead in real time, right? Then you got the worm's eye view. Imagine if you was a worm, what you would be able to see. Only thing you can do is look up, right? It's a lower vantage point, and it's to look up from below, right? I don't know if any of y'all remember. I know more than Brian does. This is one of those things that Messiah always used to emphasize. Just look up. Keep moving, move forward, look up, then move forward, right? So, again, just keep these three different perspectives and vantage points in mind as we continue through this lesson, because we're going to see all three of these vantage points like live and active, okay? So Psalm 139 and 1. Remember, the Father has the bird's eye view. He's up high and he can see it all, everything, right? It says, "Oh, Yahuwah, you have searched me and know me. You know my sitting down and my rising up. You understand my thought from afar. You know everything. You see everything. You sift my path and my lying down, and know well all my days. For there is not a word on my tongue, but see, O Yahuwah, you know it all. You have closed me in, behind and before, and laid your hand upon me. Knowledge too wondrous for me. It is high. I'm unable to reach it." Most High is high. That's why we call him the Most High. He's the Most High. And Toda More, I've been holding off. I didn't want to interrupt it and say, but Toda, all praises. So he says, "Where would I go from your spirit? Or where would I flee from your face? If I go up into the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, see, you are there." So in the eyes and the sight of the Most High, there's nothing that is out of his sight. He can see it all from his vantage point. He knows every move, every possibility, everything. Everything you do, everything you don't do, everything you think, everything you didn't think, everything you said, everything you didn't say. He knows it all. Man, all praises. Isaiah 55 and 1. "Oh, everyone who thirsts, come to the waters. And you who have no silver, come, buy and eat. Come, buy wine and milk without silver and without price. Why do you weigh out silver for what is not bread, and your labor for what does not satisfy? Listen to me, and eat what is good, and let your being delight itself in fatness." Why would they do that? Because they can't see from his vantage point. They can only see right here in front of me, right? Well, life is moving on, and I got X, Y, and Z to deal with. I got X, Y, and Z to do, so I'm going to spend my time trying to figure that out. And he's saying, no, trust me. I already know that that's vanity. But trust me, I can get you there. He says, "Incline your ear and come to me. Hear so that your being lives, and let me make an everlasting covenant with you, the trustworthy, loving commitments of Dawid." See, I have given him as a witness to the people, a leader and a commander for the people. See, a nation you do not know shall call, and a nation who does not know you run to you because of Yahuwah your Elohim, and the set apart one of Israel, for he has adorned you. Seek Yahuwah while he is to be found, call on him while he is near. Let the wrong forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. Let him return to Yahuwah, who has compassion on him, and to our Elohim, for he pardons much. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways your ways, declares Yahuwah. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, remember, he's got that bird's eye view. He's up there. So are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Right? So we got a picture of a bird's eye view. You can see the whole city. Now imagine if you was on one of those streets in that city. It's not much you can see. You can see maybe a block down the road that way, a block down the road that way, and the building's probably blocking you side by side. But from his vantage point, he can see it all. Right? So a bird's eye view is an elevated view of an object or location from a very steep viewing angle, creating a perspective as if the observer were a bird in flight looking downwards. Bird's eye views can be an aerial photograph, but also a drawing, and are often used in the making of blueprints, floor plans, and maps. Right, so I got that from Wikipedia. So blueprints, floor plans, maps, okay? And a bird's eye view is used for that. You need it. Remember, Yahuwah is the source of your navigation. He lays out your map. He's the maker of the blueprint. This is why he gave us his Torah. This is why he gave us his Ruach. He knows the end from the beginning. Might as well get the plan from him. It's a view from a high angle as if seen by a bird in flight, an overall or cursory look at something, right? That's Merriam-Webster. So a change of perspective will often affect how something is seen. This principle can be beneficial for us as we go through life. We will see how Abram navigates his life and how a simple shift of perspective could change the outcome of many situations, whether for good or bad. We will also see how it all works out from the bird's eye perspective. And keep in mind, man's default perspective is from the street view. This means we see what is eye level to us from where we are. That's our natural perspective. Like Elder said, we try to mentally understand, but yet we put the Most High in a box because we didn't see it from his vantage point. The worm's eye view. All right, so a worm's eye view is an angle of an object from below. So notice that's the Eiffel Tower, and it's like you looking up. All you can do is see, you look up. So as through the observer, as though the observer were a worm, the opposite of a bird's eye view. So the worm's eye view is the opposite of the bird's eye view. It can be used to look up to something to make an object look tall, strong, and mighty, while the viewer feels childlike or powerless. A worm's eye view commonly uses three-point perspective with one vanishing point at the top, one on the left, and one on the right. All right, so Psalm 22:1 says, my El, why have you forsaken me? Far from saving me, far from the words of my groaning. O my Elohim, I call by day, but you do not answer, and by night, but I find no rest. Yet you are set apart, enthroned on the praises of Israel. Our fathers trusted in you. They trusted, and you delivered them. They cried to you and were delivered. They trusted in you and were not ashamed. Has anybody ever found themselves in that place where you feel like, I'm crying out, I'm trying to receive answer from the Most High, and I feel like you're not stepping in and you're not stopping my suffering, right? I'm ready for this to be over with. I'm ready, and I'm calling out, and I'm saying, my ancestors, that I know, I got the belief, I got the trust. I know that if I call on your name, you answer. I've seen it happen, and I believe it. But it's just like that saying that the man said, right? He said, I believe, but help my unbelief, right? Like Elder said, you still got the flesh, and we got to work through that. He says, but I am a what? I'm a worm. and no man, a reproach of men, and despised by the people. He has the worm's eye perspective. All that he can do is look up. He's at the bottom of the bottom, right? All those who seek me mock me. They shoot out the lip. They shake the head, saying, he trusted in Yahuwah. Let him rescue him. Let him deliver him, seeing he has delighted in him. So he's saying, listen, I've waited on your salvation. I'm waiting, and I'm crying out, and yet I'm not hearing anything. He says, you are the one who took me out of the womb, causing me to trust while on my mother's breast. I was cast upon you from birth, and from my mother's belly, you have been my ill. Do not be far from me, for distress is near, for there is none to help. It feels like that. And when you're at the lowest state, at the lowest point, those emotions and those sentiments, those feelings are real. So much so to the point that in Matthew and in Mark, it's recorded that Mashiach, upon breathing his last, this is what he was crying out and singing. He was singing this song. My El, why have you forsaken me? He wasn't saying that the Most High forsook him. If you actually go back and read the rest of the psalm, by the end of the psalm, the vantage point and the perspective of the psalmist has changed. His faith has been built up through his crying out. He reassures himself, I know you are there. So notice how the bird's eye view is seen from above. It takes all into account because all things are in its sight. There is nothing that is hidden from view. In fact, this is why police will often send helicopters when in pursuit during a high-speed police chase. This can be used to represent the Father's view, seeing and knowing all things. This view can be seen by man, but requires revelation or insight from on high. So you can see and perceive from the bird's eye view. But you got to remove yourself from the ground level. You got to remove yourself from your situation and everything that's right here in front of you, and you got to see it from his vantage point. And to do that, it requires faith, belief, trust. Then you got the normal street view. Those two folks, all they doing is looking straight ahead, right? And a lot of times, life will get so busy that you don't get the opportunity to look up, because there's so much coming at you, and there's so much happening in your immediate right here in front of you, that everything in the peripheral and everything else that's going on around you, your focus is dead ahead. Tunnel vision. Blinders on, right? But this is why he tells us that we got to cast our cares upon him. He's concerned for us. So it deals with things as they are presented before it in real time. It cannot see more than what is close to it, unlike the bird's eye view, which sees everything. It also does not see what is above it as that worm's eye view does. So it's not looking above or below. It's just dead ahead. This is the default view of man. It is in a unique position, however, being in the middle of three vantage points. So man actually is in a unique position, because if we humble ourselves, we can be low and look up. If we set our mind on high and on heavenly things, we can remove ourselves from our current vantage point and look down at our situation and see it from his perspective. We're the only vantage point that can move and do that. But it is a choice. So the worm's eye view is seen from below. Contrarily, it can only look up. It cannot take all into account. Therefore, it focuses on one central focal point. This view is seen from a lowly position. This view can be seen by man, but it requires humility. So again, what should I do, right? How will this covenant take place? How will Abram have a blessed seed when Sarai cannot have children? And how can he navigate when he doesn't know where to go? How should he look at his current situation? Let me tell you, Everybody in the situation at this point, they're looking at it from the street view, right? They can't see it from the bird's eye view. And through the situation, they end up having to look at it from the worm's eye view. The worm's eye view is not the natural position that we choose to look from. A lot of times the Most High has to let you walk in the mess enough to where he'll humble you and press you down. It's like Moray Bryant said, sometimes going before his throne, it's like, at first I'm getting pressed down at his feet, at his throne. And eventually, as long as your heart is softened and not hardened, you'll get used to that position of humility before him. But it's not the default. So in the coming events, we will take a look at the thought processes of the parties involved. Before we do, however, I would like to focus on a particular aspect of Abram's character. All right, so 12:4. So Abram left as Yahuwah had commanded him, and Lot went with him, and Abram was 75 years old when he set out from Haran. Obedience. Genesis 13:17. Arise, walk in the land in its length and its width, for I give it to you. So Abram moved his tent and went and dwelt in the terebinth trees of Mamre, which are in Hebron, and built an altar there to Yahuwah. Obedience. Genesis 15:6. And he believed in Yahuwah, and he reckoned it to him for righteousness. Again, so it's not so much so a faith issue in that he's walking in unbelief. It's more so a thing of his faith has to be refined. It's levels to this thing. You don't have enough, right? I believe, but help my unbelief. It's like that's an oxymoron. How can both of these be true? And I can tell you, with the dual nature of man, it is definitely true. And I've been there. I believe, but at the same time, I don't know. And so I got doubt. But I believe, I know believing in you is my only option. But I still got doubt because I don't see how this is going to happen. And the interesting thing about it is when you add time to that equation, it decreases and decreases and decreases. It takes more bruising, and it gets beat on. The faith gets beat on. This is why endurance and endurance in the process, y'all hear me say that so much, it is so important because, man, you don't be tried. So each time Elohim speaks to Abram about the covenant, we see obedience and belief. So we'll need to keep this in mind as we look at the story in context. We see that Abram is a righteous man that walks uprightly before Elohim. This will help us unpack some of the events that take place in his life from here on, right? So I preface it with that by saying I've heard and I've read in commentaries and things like that so many different points of view on the story, and it removes the story from real life, right? Sarai gets a bad rep. Abram gets a bad rep. And it's like, yeah, we have the advantage of being able to see it from the bird's eye view because we're reading it in the past tense. So we already know the end of this matter, just like the Father in real time knew the end of the matter from the beginning. So it's easy for us to look back and be like, well, he should have. And if I was him, I would have. I don't know. Right? I don't know. The Father has a tendency of looking throughout the earth and searching, and the one that he chooses is likely the only one at that time that could have handled what he put on him. He said, with Job, what did he say? Well, have you considered Job? Hashatan said, look, I've been up and down, searching far and wide, to and fro. I know how mankind is. Not Job. He was more righteous than all that were around him. So the Father, I mean, it's just like the saying, to whom much is given, much is required. All right, so Genesis 16:1. It says, and Sarai, Abram's wife, had borne him no child. So again, the narration in the story is not ignorant of what the problem is. It understands it. And it also understands that this is the logical, all that they're about to go through is the logical conclusion. That's why it starts with this. She had no child. And she had an Egyptian servant whose name was Hagar. But I do have this. So this is a very important detail for us to consider as we continue in the story. Keep in mind, no one knows how this covenant is supposed to take place. They just know it's supposed to happen. And now at this point, they got all the details except Sarai. That's the only detail that's missing from this equation. Well, we know that it's going to be from Abram's loins at this point. It's going to be his child. But the logical conclusion is that it can't be with this woman. That's the logical conclusion. So verse 2, it says, and Sarai said to Abram, see you who has kept me from bearing children. So notice her vantage point here, her perspective. Please go into my female servant. It might be. Does she sound confident? She don't know. She's trying to figure it out, right? It might be that I am built up by her. And Abram listened to the voice of Sarai. And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her female servant, the Egyptian or the Mizraim, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan. So he's been sojourning in the land of Canaan alone. This is not including the time in Egypt. He's been sojourning in the land of Canaan for 10 more years on top of that. And it still hasn't happened. So can you see how, like I said, when you add time to this equation, how, okay, well, I'm trying to figure it out. It wasn't Lot. It's not Eliezer. Okay, and then we waited more and we waited more. We waited a whole nother 10 years waiting for an answer. And we haven't got, so it must be us. Maybe we're misunderstanding something, right? How many of us have been there? Where it's like you calling, you asking the Father for something, guidance on something, and it's like, okay, so I'm asking, and I done got to the point now where I'm woe out from praying about it. And it's like, man, still no answer. Okay, and then the doubt starts to creep in and you start to rationalize and bring in your own understanding and logic into the equation, right? Well, maybe, and you have those questions like what she said, right? And those suggestions like what she said. It might be. Again, some stuff I can speak on experience. My Isha will ask me, I'm like, well, are you praying on it? Yes. I'm seeking. I'm trying to find out what he wants me to do. Have you got an answer? No. At least I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe I did. I don't know. And it's like the most frustrating place to be in, because in a moment you like, okay, well, I know you said this, but I don't know how I'm going to get there. So here's the question. Was Sarai wrong for saying that Yahuwah kept her from bearing children? That's how she felt. Okay. Is it the truth? Well, who else? I mean, Abram's trying, it ain't his fault. So he can open it, right? But maybe it's that he's waiting for his timing. Is it possible that all that they are going through up to this point is a requirement? Maybe he's not only working on Abram, but he's got to work on her too. He got to work on both of them. And we're going to dig into it that, like I said, he's not just choosing just anybody to bring this covenant through, right? This is a very serious thing. So he's testing the both of them to see, are y'all worthy of what I'm about to lay on y'all? We're going to see that there's some things that Abram's going to have to deal with, building his faith. And there's some things that Sarai's got to deal with, building her faith. At a later point, when they receive a visitation, she laughed and said, right? So he's got to work on both of their belief.
more faith than they realize that they have.
Absolutely. Now, the only way we can see that is from what? His viewpoint, from
Right.
his vantage point.
Right.
As long as we only worried about our situation here in front of us, we'll never see it, right? It's just, well, the Father, the Most High, he's doing X, Y, Z to me, right? But if we step back and we see it from his perspective, and we understand and realize that, oh, well, maybe this is part of his plan for some greater reason that I just don't understand, that I don't know, right? And he's got to reveal it to me. Maybe there's a way that he wants to uniquely use me, and going through this in this way is required for me to get there. I'll tell you this much. Nobody wants to be the poster child for the endurance. Nobody wants to be the poster child for all of the things that the righteous and the afflictions that the righteous go through. Nobody wants to be that poster child. Look at Job. Hey, this is one of those times where I'm like, hey, yo, Father, I'm straight. Don't pick me. Please, please, don't pick me. Not for that. That's the fleshly side, right? The carnal side. We know that he gained much more in the end than what he had in the beginning, but who wants to go through all of that to get it? Right? It says in Romans that the carnal man, right? The flesh, it can't please Elohim. And this is why. It's always going to look for the road of least resistance. The easiest route from point A to point B is going to make me comfortable. That's what the flesh wants. But the fruit of his spirit is long-suffering and all of these things. Patience and endurance and who wants to do all of that? The carnal man doesn't, I can guarantee you that. So this is why we got to learn to be spiritually minded. Is there any additional context for Sarai's suggestion? This is where we're going to start getting into the history of it. Why did she suggest what she suggested? Is that like, okay, let me ask this, and I'm not trying to open up a can of worms, but y'all entertain me for a moment. To the women, how many women in here would suggest that? I ain't seen nobody volunteer, right? All praises. I mean, from our perspective, it sounds crazy. Shoot, fellas, how many men, if you was in this situation, you would trust it? Be like, oh, nah, that's a setup, and that is, no. You ain't about to get me on that one. Right, loaded question. Right? I'll be sitting there looking, now, are you sure? Are you sure? Yeah, like, yeah, loaded, boy. Set up in a heartbeat. So, but, hey. So we're going to get to that. So surrogacy is an arrangement whereby a woman gets pregnant and gives birth on behalf of another person or couple who will become the child's legal parents after birth. And that's a modern definition for it. And I've known someone who, like, I've known a woman who was a surrogate for someone. And it's like money in it. Like it's money in surrogacy, like if you're willing to do that. So while this practice of surrogacy is less commonly talked about in our modern Western world, when we look at this in a Near Eastern historical context, we begin to understand why this is suggested. In the following slides, we will see that this was something that was considered a social norm for those that were in the shoes that Sarai was in. So I want to use this part of the story as an opportunity for us to learn how to navigate the Father's plan for us. And analyzing the story, we will see that this is a process that is often easier said than done. So with that being said, let's try to look at each perspective of the persons involved, Abram, Sarai, and Hagar, with empathy and understanding, keeping in mind the sensitivity to the topic, right? Like this is still, like I said, in modern times, this is a real life situation, right? So let's be sensitive to that. So to the right is a photo of the Kotepe Kanesh inscription. This document is a marriage contract that was written similarly to a modern prenuptial agreement. All right, so the contract, written in Old Assyrian and signed before 4 witnesses, stipulates that the wife in question has to hire an eredul, or female slave, to serve as a surrogate mother if the couple failed to conceive a baby 2 years from the wedding date. So in this case, this is, again, from the region. Remember, Sarai, Abram, where did they come from? Of the Chaldeans, which is right there in Babylon, right? So this is the cultural context that they're coming from. And this is a writing from that region that says, hey, before we even get married, because no one knows the future, in the event that this is the case, this is what the plan is. We'll have a surrogate, and the child that is born through the surrogate will be raised up in light of the woman. It will be that woman's child. And he had a 2-year time period on this. So again, look at Abram's patience. He done went his whole life and hasn't made this move, knowing that it is a lawful thing, even according to the laws of their land. So this tablet, along with others, as we will see shortly, shows that this was a practice that was common in the time period and region in which the story of Genesis is set, right? So again, keep in mind how long Abram and Sarai have gone childless. They're up there now. They're way up there. Elder Wood.
I'm beginning to see the logic behind Yah and how he's doing this, right? Because if he'd have gave Abram a child at a young age, it wouldn't have meant as much as he does at an older age, or at a time to where most natural people cannot conceive at that age. Mm-hmm. So having him wait until he's up in age will solidify his faith in Yah, because he's doing something that's out of the norm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm 90, almost 100 years old, and I'm conceiving a child now. Mm-hmm. That's out the norm. Mm-hmm. So with Yah making him wait, that will put more emphasis on you being able to produce a child at an age that you shouldn't be. Mm-hmm. So that should help eliminate any doubt or any lack of faith in Yah, because you have experienced something that is out of the norm.
Mm-hmm. All praises. And like, if someone were to believe in that way now, we would be looking for the first asylum and the first meds we can put them on. Like, hold on, wait a minute. This sounds crazy. Great granny or great auntie, I don't think that that's going to happen. It sounds crazy, but this is the level of faith that they have, that Abram has at this point, right? And clearly, I mean, they've waited this long. They had to be believing, and now they just finally got to the point to where it's like, I mean, well, we must have something wrong, right? This is the logical explanation, especially knowing how the culture operates, right? So, and again, we have another reference of this. This is, how many of us have heard about Hammurabi's law code or Hammurabi's code? Okay, so he was a ruler over the same region, Babylon, and he came up with a whole law code for the society of Babylon. Interesting stuff. and is noted as being one of the earlier law codes of societies. Right? There's a couple of, like, we'll see that there's another one that predated this one from the same region, again called the Lipid Ishtar Codex. Yeah. So here's what it says. This is line 145 on this inscription. It says, if a man has espoused a wife, and she has not granted him children, and he has set his face to take a concubine, that man shall take a concubine, and he shall cause her to enter into his house. That concubine he shall not put on equality with the wife. So what happened with Sarai and Hagar? So Hagar elevated in position, and now you see why this is an issue within the household. Right? So again, this is lawful. This is the way that the culture and the society works. Okay, well, if you can't have a child, you know, in the last one we saw 2 years, they've been waiting decades. So now it's like, okay, well, we are going to go ahead and do this. But now there's a right ruling of the society, a societal norm that says, well, when you do this, this is how it's done. They're culturally informed, right? You can take this woman, but she can't be on the same level with the wife, right? Verse or line 146, it says, if a man has espoused a wife and she has given a maid to her husband. So he has a wife, and then the woman gives the maid to her husband. And she has borne children, and afterwards that maid has made herself equal with her mistress. Because she has borne children, her mistress shall not sell her for money. So she's your slave. You have a right to do with her as you please. But he's saying, hey, if she has a child with that man and you put her up to this, you can't get mad once she has a child and sell her off like a regular slave. She shall put a mark upon her and count her among the maidservants. Can't shoo her off and get rid of her. So this bit of context helps us discern the events of the Genesis narrative. Whose idea was it for a handmaid to be given to Abram? It was Sarah. So we're looking right here at 146 in real time. And why would this be suggested? Clearly, this is the culture, right? So this law assumes several things that matter for Genesis 16. A barren wife may give her maidservant to her husband. The maidservant may bear children on behalf of the wife if the maidservant becomes arrogant, claims equal status with the wife. The wife may discipline her, may not sell her, and she retains legal authority over her. Okay? So back to 16, we're going to draw a parallel. So it says, and Sarai, Abram's wife, had borne him no child, and she had an Egyptian female servant whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said to Abram, see, Yahuwah has kept me from bearing children. Please go into my female servant. It might be that I am built up by her. And Abram listened to the voice of Sarai. And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her female servant, the Egyptian, and gave her to her husband, Abram, to be his wife, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan. And he went into Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. Y'all know that law existed because it was pretty much predicted that, well, you know, if you do this, these are the possible issues that generally happen. So here's a right ruling and a law of how to deal with this, okay? So now notice what just took place. Here we see a connection being made to a previous parsha. In this, we see parallels reminiscent of the garden. Here we see that Sarai herself was not sure in what she presented to Abram. In the previous chapter, we saw that there was a bit of foreshadowing taking place between Abram and Adam, right? So remember in 15 and verse 12, it says, and it came to be when the sun was going down and a deep sleep fell upon Abram, that see, a frightening great darkness fell upon him. And we saw that same deep sleep, we saw Abram was put under that same deep sleep when his Isha was made for him. Or Adam, rather. Genesis 2 and 21, it says, so Yahuwah Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall on a man, and he slept. And he took one of the ribs, and he closed up the flesh in his place. And the rib which Yahuwah Elohim had taken from the man, he made into a woman, and he brought her to the man. All right, so now look at verse 3. It would appear that this wording is intentionally trying to draw our attention to the garden. Verse 3 again. It says, and Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her female servant, an Egyptian, and gave her to her husband, Abram, to be his wife, after Abram had dwelt in the land of Canaan, 10 years in the land of Canaan. I'm going to read Genesis 3 and 6. Y'all tell me if anything sounds familiar. I highlighted it, but y'all tell me if anything sounds familiar in this process. It says, and a woman saw that the tree was good for food and that it was pleasant to the eyes and a tree desirable to make one wise, and she took of its fruit and ate. And she also gave to her husband with her, and he ate. So notice in both cases, the men were given something by Elohim. In both cases, while the women may have intended to be helpful, a wrong turn was made. In the case of Abram and Sarai, we see an example of how something lawful may not be expedient for you depending on the Father's plan for you, right? Even according to Torah, this is something that is, quote unquote, considered lawful. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it was expedient for them in their scenario, in their situation, according to the Father's plan. Can we get you in a mic, Elder?
So in both instances, Abram and Adam should have listened to Yah instead of listening to their significant other.
All praises.
No, nothing against y'all.
Okay, all praises. All praises. I was about to say, Elder, it might be. All praise. All praises. So, yeah, this is a perfect example of you can put and plug and play anybody in that position. If it's not the voice of the Most High and the Most High has told you something, it doesn't matter if it's a woman, male, donkey, because, you know, we done seen those open up their mouth and talk. It doesn't matter what it is. You don't give ear to it and place that above the word of the Most High, what he's already told you, okay? Toda. Okay, so now in defense of Sarai, this was a well-intended plan. Her heart was in the right place, and her understanding of what was at stake for Abram and his name is actually admirable, right? So she should be really getting credit for this, that this is an admirable thing, that she cares enough about this covenant coming to fruition that she's willing to make the call that y'all all said y'all wouldn't make, right? So she's willing and she cares this much about the covenant to be like, okay, well, let's try it this way. Heart might be in the right place, might have good intentions, but is this the Father's will? No, and that's where the problem comes in. So her heart was in the right place, and her understanding of what was at stake for Abram and his name is admirable. If they did not have children, for them, all of their wealth and the covenant that Elohim has promised them would have been vanity. So after so many years, it is only logical for this to have been proposed. It's only logical. Y'all done read, I was reading commentaries in my house preparing for the lesson and like screaming at the table like, what? This is madness. Like the way that some of these commentators, Christian commentators, talk about this scenario, it removes so much from it, and they paint Abram and Sarai, especially Sarai, as these bad villains and these bad characters. And it's like, no, y'all don't really understand the essence and the beauty of what she just suggested. Because she's looking at the reality in the same way that Abram is looking at the reality and saying, well, how is this supposed to happen?
the number one goal of any man who's married is to have a son. He wants that heir, you know, and she understood that, you know, because this is something that, you know, especially back in those days, you needed that son. Every man wanted a son. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, and this is such an important principle within their cultural and in biblical times. Like, the way that they're understanding it is that, man, my name will be cut off. I don't have an heir. So what, am I going to give all of my inheritance and everything to a servant from Damascus? So all praises. So we told Mio so far, right? Before we go, have you ever made a wrong turn away from Yah's plan for you because you listened to the advice of somebody else? Has that ever happened? Father has a plan for you, and in the process of waiting, you get some advice, and that advice sends you in the wrong direction. And then now you looking back like, man, see, I knew I shouldn't have listened to so-and-so when they told me to do so-and-so. And the Most High is so smooth with it. He will make sure, it's like color purple, everything you put your hand to. Like, he will make sure. Like, yeah, gotta be the, yeah. He gonna make sure. Whatever you put your hands to, it's not gonna work, y'all. All praises. So I want to point something out. Notice what was good or considered good in Sarai's eyes. And we're going to ask the question, well, was this good in the father's eyes? And then just pay attention to Abram's response, right? Because now we're getting into the thick of it again. Everybody is at the street eye view. They only looking at the situation and they saying, hey, we got a problem, and the logical solution to this problem is this. Genesis 16:4 says, and when he went into Hagar and she conceived, and when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And Sarai said to Abram, my wrong be upon you. Now, hold on, now wait a minute. Told you I was a setup. My wrong be upon you. I gave my female servant into your bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. Let Yahuwah judge between you and me. Now, mind you, again, keep in mind that this is a big no-no in the culture because it's already understood. I'm your master. Now, hold on, wait a minute now. Yeah, but the child is my child, and you stay in your place. Stay in your lane, right? But Hagar is like, no, not so. And Abram he just a proud father. He happy to have a son. So I can only imagine. My imagination, sometimes it goes too far. I could just only imagine though, like, hey, babe, you hungry? Oh, nah, I've been out there with Hagar. She cooked something on the way. Yeah, no, I'm good. I can only imagine the problems, right? Stirring the pot. All right, I'm going to stop. I can only imagine, though, the issues that came from this situation. So, and Abram said to Sarai, now, I'm going to let y'all know, me and my Ishai, we laugh about this now, but this is a typical Alan Yahoo answer. See, your female servant is in your hand. Do to her what's good in your eyes. Hey, leave me alone. Do what you want. Just don't come bothering me about it. Was that the right answer? Nope. Okay. All praises. Zach Kane, if you don't mind, can you bump that fader down on this mic just a little bit? All praises. Yes, sir, red. So, and Sarai treated her harshly, and she fled from her presence. Man. He said, do what you want, and she said, oh, I'm going to do what I want. All praises. Toda, we good. But again, this was what was considered good in her eyes. It was this good in the Most High's eyes, though. Okay. Proverbs 21:2. All a man's ways, in this case a woman's ways, are right in his own eyes or her eyes, but Yahuwah weighs the hearts. So it's something in your heart that could it be that the Father is using this situation to prepare you so that when it's your turn up, we got to get rid of this. I'm not trying to raise up a nation that oppresses those that are under them. The world does that. But the nation that I'm calling to stand up for me and my righteousness, we don't mistreat the sojourner. If one of your brethren goes to court with the stranger, and that's your fact, don't you show no partiality in judgment. Who's right is who's right, and who's wrong is who's wrong. How many of us was raised up as like, if my brothers and my sisters in the jam, in a bind, we're gonna ask questions later. I'm riding for my brother, I'm riding for my sister. Without even figuring out, maybe your brother or your sister was the one that was wrong. Right? That's big in our community. Big in our community. Crashing out for somebody else and you don't even know what happened.
When you're young and rambocious, yes. But as you get older and wiser, you should do better. You should know and understand better, as you get older. Now, that's not for everybody because there are some that when they get old, they still fools, but you should learn certain things and certain aspects of things as you get older. You're my brother, but you was wrong. And I got to tell you that. So before we take it any further, you need to take a look at yourself. You caused this problem in this situation, and this is how we have to look at things when we assess things with and problems that we have, with either family members or friends. We will have to assess a situation in a form that will be pleasing or from the word of Yah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A righteous perspective. Nadabia. Nadabia. The other Nadabia.
I wanted to go back to, you asked the question previously. I think all of this has to really go into, like you're saying, seeking the Father. Did Abraham, communicate with the Father when Sarah said that statement to Abraham? Did he say, okay, let me pray about it. Let me see what the Father says. I think that's the main key, because whatever Abihu says trumps whatever I have to say. Whatever the wife says, whatever the husband says, is what the Father says. So that's the main thing here. I think that then you won't get you may still get some women, they will be bitter no matter what. But if he would have said, Abihu would say, okay, let's go with this, or no, this is not a good idea. Abihu did not lead me to that. I think that's where you get the clarity from, you know what I mean? Like for the woman and the male, like just how the Father has to be in the center of that. That would be my response. Okay, well, if I say something to, what would the Father say? For the Ish, let me pray on it. I hear what you're saying. I may or may not agree with you, but let me get in tune, and I'll get back with you. I think that's the best solution. That's what I think could have or should have been done for that situation. Then you won't get none of the now she's upset with you because you said yes, so you could have said no. We could squash all of that. Let me seek the Father and hear His voice, and I will get back with you. You know what I mean?
All praises, is like you said. And I was talking to the Father this morning. He ain't said nothing like that. Like, so. At all. This is the only option left from a logical standpoint. So I want to point out what's in the name, right? I want to point out something because the father. Now, y'all know that later on, Abram's name is going to get changed, but also Sarai's name is going to get changed as well. So they both are going through a transformation process, okay? So Sarai, what does it mean? H8297, Sarai. Has anybody ever heard of a czar or a czar? They call that's what they call rulers in certain parts of the world. Okay, same root word here, Sarai. All right, so from H8269, dominative. Something about her personality, she's dominant, dominative. Okay, Sarai, the wife of Abraham. H8323, that root, H8269, points you to 8323. This is the root of it, a primitive root. To have, transitively, to exercise, reflexively, to get or to have dominion, to make self a prince, to rule, right? So this is what her name means. He's saying, hey, no, hold on, wait a minute, queen. This is not the kind of rulership and the kind of qualifications that rulers in that's not the dominion that I was looking for when I said to the man and the woman in the garden that they're going to have dominion. This is oppression. And then Hagar. Okay, this is interesting because Hagar is not an Egyptian name. This is a Hebrew title, a Hebrew name that they've given to this woman. I'm going to say that again. This is not an Egyptian name. This is a Hebrew name that they've given to this woman. But we're going to see what it means. All right, so flight, to be dragged off, okay? Pressed into service. And literally, we know that Hebrew names, when Hebrews name something, is describing them, right? They just basically called her slave girl, the slave. That's how she's known. It sounds crazy. Again, the past is a foreign country. They do things differently there. It sounds crazy, but that's literally what her name means. The etymology is from a verb, hagar, hagar, to flee. From one, ha, which if you put the hey prefix, the H sound in front of a verb, or in front of a noun, it means the, okay? So, ha means the or for, and the verb garar, to drag out or away. From the Persian/Greek verb agario, to press into service. Okay, so now I'm getting ahead of myself. All praises. We get an idea of how Hagar is viewed, right? So no wonder it's like, man, we should have never gave y'all money. Like, no wonder why the first opportunity that she gets to step up in status, she's taking full advantage of it, right? I'm not just a slave. You're right. I'm not just a slave, right? Right. So keep in mind what Sarai means. When Abram told Sarai, do what is right in your eyes, what did she do? Notice that she used her authority to oppress, when, if we're being honest, this plan was one of her own making, right? So how many times have you, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to wait until the next slide. Exodus 22 and 21. You shall neither vex a stranger. Now that word for stranger, does anybody know the word for stranger in that context? Say it loud and proud. Ger. It's the same root of the word for Hagar's name. So the father don't play that, mistreating the stranger, right? The ger. Says, you shall neither vex a stranger or a ger, nor oppress him, for you were what? You were strangers. You used to be a ger in the land of Egypt. So the father is letting us, now this is after he's brought them out of Egypt, and he's letting them know, hey, but when they're in your midst, don't mistreat them because of where y'all come from. This is not an opportunity for get back. If they are in your midst, treat them fairly, treat them properly. I'm Yahuwah, represent me, right? And plus, y'all should know, treat others as you want to be treated. You know what it's like to be a servant, to be a slave, to be in a servile position. You know what it's like to be oppressed. So when you get the opportunity and you get the authority, don't don't abuse it and then become the oppressor. Because now the same way that the Most High dealt with your oppressors, now He's going to have to deal with you. Because He is not favoritism Elohim, right? He's no respecter of persons. There is no partiality in Him. Righteousness is righteousness and wrong is wrong. This is the way that it works with Him. So He's warned us. Leviticus 19:33. And if a stranger sojourn with you, if a ger sojourn with you in your land, you shall not vex him. But the stranger that dwells with you shall be unto you as one born among you, and you shall love him as yourself. For you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am Yahuwah your Elohim. And He's saying this to them after they came out of the bondage. This is the Elohim that we serve, and this is the type of rulership and dominion that He was trying to set up with Israel. Not for them to repeat and be like the nations. When they come to our land, they're supposed to say, man, what other Elohim, what other nation is it that has an Elohim like this? We can come in and eat in the fields and they left it for us? I don't owe you nothing? Man, that's the righteousness that He's standing on. So I can imagine him from his vantage point looking down at Sarai and saying, I got to work that out of you. That can't go with this promise. So in essence, she had to go through this. There's a reason, y'all, why I said he's been being silent all these years. He could have told him from the start. Sarai, he could have said, no, she's got some things that got to be dealt with. So he's withholding this back and he's letting them, go ahead, figure it out. I need you to get humbled so you can see me from that worm's eye view. Look up. So here's the question. Have you ever had to deal with the consequences of a wrong decision, and instead of looking at yourself in the mirror, you directed the anger at somebody else? So this is a familiar place where she is, right? But really the person that should be looking in the mirror is saying, okay, but I did suggest this, and I should have counted the cost. Right? Now that don't justify Hagar getting beside herself. But it also doesn't justify how bad she treated that woman afterwards, in the aftermath. If it was so bad that, the servant done being called the slave all this time and she stuck around, and we know that Abram, he's operating and he's known for carrying his house in a certain way. He treats the people that are with him fairly. Those 318 trained servants, none of those were his children, but they rode for that man. So he treats them in a righteous way. This is the first time that we're seeing anything like this happening in Abram's house, where somebody is being oppressed in the house of Abram. Man, say it ain't so. So could it be that Sarai is now doing to Hagar what was done to her by Pharaoh? Hagar is brought to Abram in the same way that she was brought to Pharaoh. Notice the connection to Egypt. And notice Sarai has the power to will over her servant and how she chooses to treat her. So we'll circle back to this later, but for now, is it possible that the Father is working something in Sarai to properly prepare her for the covenant with this situation? So verse 6, it says, and Abram said to Sarai, see, your female servant is in your hand. Do to her what is good in your eyes. And Sarai treated her harshly, and she fled from her presence. And the messenger of Yahuwah found her by a spring of water in the wilderness, by the spring on the way to Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's female servant, where have you come from and where are you going? Remember, we said that this is all about navigation. And to be able to navigate, you got to know where you been, where you at now, and where you headed. And she said, I'm fleeing from the presence of Sarai, my mistress. And the messenger of Yahuwah said to her, return to your mistress and humble yourself under her hand. So she ran because she's just dealing with the situation and saying, look, Street View says it's time for me to go. Right? What did the Most High say? Humble yourself. See it from my perspective, you need to be looking and focusing on me. Right? Because I'm going to figure that out. I got that taken care of. So just continue to endure. It won't continue to happen forever. Humble yourself and look up and focus on me. So, like I said, every person in this situation is receiving a lesson. And the messenger of Yahuwah said to her, I am going to increase your seed greatly. So now she's receiving covenant. Man. Too numerous to be counted. She getting a share in what was promised to Abraham. After all, Ishmael is one of Abram's seed. And the messenger of Yahuwah said to her, I'm going to increase your seed greatly, too numerous to be counted. And the messenger of Yahuwah said to her, see, you are conceiving and bearing a son, and shall call his name Ishmael, because Yahuwah has heard your affliction. Verse 12. And he is to be a wild man, his hand against everyone, and everyone's hand against him, and dwell over against all his brothers. And she called the name of Yahuwah who spoke to her. You are the El who sees, for she said, even here I have seen after him who sees me. That is why the well is called Beer Lahai Roi. See, it is between Kadesh and Bered. And Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram called the name of his son, whom Hagar bore Ishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to Abram. Oh, man, right? So far, so good in Abram's life, right? I mean, we had a couple little domestic disputes, but up to this point, it looks like the father is holding true to what he told me. So he thinks, right? So as a side note, notice that while she was despised in the eyes of Sarai, Elohim saw her affliction. Let me ask y'all, do y'all think it's possible that this story is also showing us prophecy as well? So let's pay attention to the themes. So this particular part of the parsha is connected to the beginning of the parsha. In the beginning, we saw Sarai and Abram go to Egypt as strangers. Right, that was in Genesis 12 and 10. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn, or to gur, the same root of the word for Hagar, there, for the famine was grievous in the land. So keep in mind, according to other records, such as the Dead Sea Scrolls, Hagar was given to Sarai after they left Egypt. In this story, we see a servant in the house of a master that treats her harshly. Does that story sound familiar to anybody? Some servants in a house is being oppressed by their masters. Okay, so it sounds just like what happened to Israel in Egypt, right? Okay. Elohim sees her affliction and she receives a covenant. Does that sound anything like what happened with Israel? He heard the cries of the people in their affliction, and then he entered into covenant with them. So this particular part of the parsha is written chiastically. What was the central axis of that particular chiastic structure? It was when Elohim told her to go and be humbled by her mistress, although she was treating her harshly. So another one of those things, not to keep quoting Messiah, but another thing he would say, man, it's something about this captivity. It's something about the captivity that we're supposed to be learning while we're here in it, that's supposed to humble us so that we turn back to the Most High. It's something about the process of affliction and hardships and suffering that's supposed to humble us and turn us back to the Most High. Right?
Kind of like what was happening in the wilderness before you even get into the land. Like, you're going to have to get humbled and cleaned up and washed up before you can get there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All praises. So it was Elohim that told her to go and be humbled by her mistress, although she was treating her harshly. In this, her womb was blessed and she was given a child. So Elohim is again laying groundwork for a prophetic story that we will see regarding a woman with child being afflicted and fleeing into the wilderness. So remember what I just said. And that's exactly what Hagar did. Under the oppression, she fled out into the wilderness. And in the wilderness, that's where she was spoken to comfortably by the Most High. Right? All praises. Zacchaeus on it. Revelation 12. Right? Revelation 12, starting at 5. And she brought forth a male child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto Yahuwah and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness where she has a place prepared of Yah, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. All right, so just a question. Do you think it's possible that this story is also showing us prophecy? Could it be that Elohim is proving Sarai? Again, remember his vantage point. He knows the end from the beginning. He's saying, hey, all of this is about to happen to your lineage. I need you to be worthy of this. W.
It would be nothing for Abihu to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Around here.
Mm-hmm. All praises. And in essence, shoot, that's Deuteronomy 30. He tells us, in the midst of your captivity, when you humble yourself and you turn back to me, then. So you got to humble yourself, even in that lowly state, in that lowly position, because the goal is that from that lowly state, you do what? You look up and you look to him from the worm's eye view. That's the way it all works. So, is there something about this situation that Elohim is teaching Sarai about the kind of governance and dominion their seed should have and the kind that they shouldn't? Notice that this is just as much of a test for her as it is Abram. We'll see this more in the coming parshas, right? Her name will be changed just like Abram's name was going to be changed. So with that being said, shalom, y'all. I wanna pivot back though. Galatians 4. Did you have anything that you wanted to bring out about that? If not, I ain't putting you on the spot, but if you got it, because I definitely forgot to bounce back to that. Okay, all praises. I'm gonna make sure, because that Galatians 4 is a part of this partial, so I'm gonna make sure to slide it in there before we finish, which next week is when we finish. So, all praises. All right, so yeah. With that being said, y'all, that's all I got for today. Hebrews 4 and 11. Let us therefore do our utmost to enter into that rest, lest anyone fall after the same example with disobedience. For the word of Elohim is living and working and sharper than any two-edged sword, cutting through even to the dividing of being the spirit and of joint and marrow, and able to judge the thoughts and intentions of the heart. And there is no creature hidden from his sight, but all are naked and laid bare before the eyes of him with whom is our count. All right, so yeah, all praises. With that being said, like I said, that's it. It's something to be mindful of. Hopefully it can serve as a roadmap when we going through our situations, because we often don't have all the answers, and we often don't know. Sometimes it's hard to find out which way is up when you're just trying to navigate, and we see even the most righteous of them make a wrong turn or two. They're going to have to deal with the consequences, as we're going to see next week. They're going to have to deal with the consequences of Ishmael, because that's going to come with a lot. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they were marked out of the covenant. The way of looking at it was that it was all just a part of their building up, right? He's working and building them up so that they can be worthy and ready when it does come their way. So, yeah, all praises. All praises. Okay, all praises. Cash App, all that good stuff. House of Refuge Day. Hey, all praises.